Hello and welcome to another interesting episode of The Magnet. And as usual, we bring to you eminent and interesting business personalities who have years of experience to enlighten you. And on today's episode, we have a very special guest. I'm so excited about this, and this is because he has years of experience in multinational industry where he rose to the level of Director of Corporate Affairs and Intergovernmental Relations. This makes it more appropriate for our topic of today, which is going to be focusing on corporate governance and public relations. Can anybody or everybody be a public relations officer? Can a company without a public relations department achieve its aims and objectives? Who is our magnet for the week? Let's take you on a ride.
Chief Dr. BALA YESUFU is a graduate of the University of Lagos and holds an MBA from the Lagos State University, Lagos, Nigeria. He holds Doctor of Science honorary causa in Management and Corporate Governance of the European American University, Commonwealth of Dominica. He worked variously at Portland Paints and Product Nigeria Limited as Area Sales Manager for the Northeast region, KM International, manufacturers of Kensington Cosmetics and Beauty Products as General Manager, and Nigerian Breweries PLC as part of Heineken International NV as Export Manager, and later First Heineken Brand Manager, culminating in a public and government affairs role as Public Affairs Manager in the nation's capital, Abuja, until June 2013 when he voluntarily retired after 21 years of meritorious service to the brewing giant. He joined Cadbury Nigeria PLC, a subsidiary of Mondelez International, in June 2013 and retired in March 2019 as Corporate and Government Affairs Lead, West Africa, in addition to being a member of Cadbury West Africa leadership team. BALA is currently the Chief Consultant at Charles Consulting and Management Services Limited, an export business solutions outfit. He is Senior Advisor, Export Advisory and Export Learning Solution at H. Pearson Associate Limited. He is also a consultant to few companies, and one of which is Petrocam Trading Pty Limited, an entity focused on commodity trading in Africa. BALA has a rich pedigree in export operations, sales and marketing, corporate and government affairs, and general management, garnered over 3 decades in Nigeria across a range of industries including cement and decorative paints, cosmetic and beauty products, and fast-moving consumer goods. BALA is a prolific writer and author of the book Export Architecture Roadmap: The Nigerian and Global Perspectives, a book principally to guide policy formulation and execution in the non-oil export space. He is a member of many professional and industry associations, which include Fellow, Shipping and Freight Institute of Nigeria, Distinguished Honorary Fellow, FIBM, Institute of Brand Management of Nigeria, Distinguished Fellow, Professional Excellence Foundation of Nigeria, PEFON, Fellow, Business Process Management Institute of Nigeria, FBPMI, Fellow, Corporate Governance Professionals of Nigeria, FCGP. BALA at one time or the other held the following positions: Chairman, Awareness and Publicity Committee of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria Export Promotion Group, Vice Chairman, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria Sweets and Confectionaries Group, Treasurer, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria Export Promotion Group, Resource Board Member, Nigeria Tennis Federation, Chairman, Other African Countries, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria Export Promotion Group. He is a past Assistant Governor of Rotary International District 9110 Nigeria, Paul Harris Fellow and Major Donor to Rotary International Foundation. He belongs to a number of social and recreational organizations including Ikoyi Club 1938, Lagos Lawn Tennis Club, and Island Club. A prince of the ancient kingdom of Ayuele Agbede in Edo State of Nigeria, BALA has been honored with chieftaincy titles of Atoyegbe of Ogudu Land, Lagos, Asekame of Uzairu Kingdom, and Inaboya of South Ibe Kingdom of Edo State. He is married and blessed with children.
Welcome back. It's my pleasure to welcome you, Chief Dr. BALA YESUFU, to our studio. Thanks for obliging our call, sir.
Thank you very much.
You had
It's
a
my
very,
pleasure
very
to be
beautiful.
here.
You had a very, very beautiful citation. I was like wowed through the times when they showing the citation and reciting it. And people tend to forget the kind of hard work it takes for people to have and create that beautiful citation, because it takes years of work. When people just hear it for like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, people forget that it's years. It could be 30 years, 40 years, 50 years of experience. Can you just give us a brief roundout about how you created the citation?
Yes, thank you very much. Like you know, Rome was not built in a day. And like you rightly said, I was in the corporate world for about 35 years.
Wow.
Thereafter, before I retired March 2019. My last bus stop actually in the corporate world was at Cadbury, where I was a director, corporate and government affairs, West Africa, you know, for Cadbury, Nigeria. You know, prior to that, I had worked with West African Portland Cement, now WAPCO, Lafarge, and then veered into Kesenshin, the beauty and hair products, as general manager.
Wow.
Before I now moved to Nigerian Breweries as a mid-career manager.
Do you between what year and what year?
I actually started my corporate journey in 1983. You know, so like I said, with West African Portland Cement, and then I left WAPCO to KM International, manufacturers of Kesenshin products, as general manager. I then joined Nigerian Breweries in 1994 as a mid-career manager, where I oversaw the export operations. You know, while in Nigerian Breweries, I also was in charge of a few other portfolios. In Nigerian Breweries, actually, I was the first Heineken brand manager.
Wow.
That was in 1998. And then ended up in Nigerian Breweries as a corporate affairs manager at the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. I opted for early retirement from Nigerian Breweries in June 2013, you know, and then joined Cadbury as Director of Corporate and Government Affairs, West Africa, that same month, June 2013, and also became a member of the West Africa leadership team.
Wow.
So I was in Cadbury for about 7 years, and then retired last year,
Wow.
2019.
Congratulations on your retirement, sir. Because I'm sure people who are watching us are interested in knowing what exactly is corporate governance. What is public relation? What is international relation? What is intergovernmental relation? Are they standalone entity or they are interwoven?
Thanks a lot for that. They are interwoven. You know, corporate governance, just like it denotes, you know, corporate, which is an entity, and then governance, governing, you know. So corporate governance is, there are set rules and policies that governs the operations of an outfit or an organization, you know. And these rules actually, they border on transparency, equity, you know, how effective the organization is going to be run, you know. And then they also set out guidelines as to how companies are supposed to be run or how companies are supposed to operate, you know. So in a nutshell, that is corporate governance. You know. And then when you now talk about public relations, you know, how you relate to the public, how you relate to people, how you relate to events, you know, that's the gamut of it all, you know. And then people say, oh, that guy doesn't have public relations. What do they mean by that? Maybe the guy is cocky.
Okay.
Maybe the guy is,
Not friendly.
not all that friendly and all that, But I think for good public relations practitioners, it is something that is inborn, and then you then develop yourself.
It comes natural.
So public relation practitioners, they're actually born,
Wow.
and they are not made.
Wow. So you're trying to say that you cannot say you want to study. For example, I'm not born with the talent of being a public relation officer, but I feel I should be able to at least study to become a public relation officer or to work in a public relation outfit.
Yes, you don't have to be born with it, I mean, it could be an area of interest to you, and you want to develop it. Even if you are born with it, you still have to develop yourself.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So, do you think a company without a public relation department or a public relation outfit can thrive or can survive in the labor market?
It really depends on the type of company, anyway. Because these days, we really don't use the word public relations department. We say corporate affairs department and all that, because it connotes a lot of things, And then you have to interface with public, you have to interface with government and all that, So it is very necessary that you have a corporate affairs department, no matter how small or how lean the staffing of that department is.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So my next question is going to be focusing on, you've talked about public relations, talk about corporate governance. Can we relate corporate governance and public relations to the system of the country, to the organization and governance of the country? Like in Nigeria, can we use corporate governance to unify the country?
Yeah, sure, because what is corporate governance, like we rightly said? These are set rules, In terms of government, I'm talking about laws, policies and co, for people, and organizations to adhere to the laws of the country, the laws of the land, So, and if you run foul of those laws, and then you face the consequences.
Of the law.
Yeah.
So you've spoken about public relations, as I said, corporate affairs governance. If I'm thinking of going into public relations or corporate governance, where do you think somebody can start for career purposes? For example, I just finished school, and then I'm thinking of specializing into public relations. Of course, I know it's going to take a while, especially when it comes to corporate governance, because it deals with directors of organizations that work most likely in corporate governance. So where do you think I can start my career if I'm thinking of going into corporate governance and public relations?
For example, if you are thinking about public relations, like you rightly said, I mean, we have various institutes, like probably Institute of Public Relations or Public Affairs and co, You enroll and be a member, and then you take tutorials, you take their courses and all that, to develop yourself. And then you read books, you go online and read books on public relations and co. You can as well, probably just enroll in any of the universities. It could be online, that kind of a thing, so that you can develop yourself.
Okay. But I also want to ask this question because it's for you worked in a multinational company. And most people want to work, for example, young graduates are just finishing school that want to work in multinational company. They find it extremely, extremely difficult to get a job position in multinational companies. What kind of advice would you give them? Like, where can they start from? Because when people tell you go and intern, when people say you're working without getting paid, how do you want to cope? How do you want to organize yourself?
You see, the thing is that because the jobs are few these days, the competition is very high, it's very stiff, so, and you just have to brush up yourself very well, because these corporate organizations that we are talking about, they have their set criteria, and then employment policies, and a few things that you have to follow, so to say, so if you meet those criteria, definitely you'll be able to get a job with some of these corporate organizations. But in a situation where, for example, just the opening is about 2, and then the corporate policy says, You know, you just have to throw it out. You know,
Oh,
and then about 500
people.
500,000
Wow.
people apply, and you have to choose
Just
two people. So you have to evolve so many strategies in such a way that you then weed until you get the two people that you require for that
Do
position.
people actually pick? Because I feel it to be so difficult to pick between 500,000 people.
Yeah, but you have no choice.
Than to pick two.
Yes, you have to pick two if that is the policy.
Wow.
And most multinationals, you know, they adhere to that policy. You know, even if it takes them 6 months to be able to get those two and then engage, subject them to so many interviews and examinations, so to say, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they go all hog and ensure that they get
the
to.
right candidate.
Yes, you
Okay.
give everybody a chance.
So, Chief Doctor BALA YESUFU, you've worked in multinational company, and especially for West Africa. How do you think government could use corporate governance to relate with other governments of another country, especially when it comes to international relations, intergovernmental communications?
Yeah, you see, for smooth relationship between two countries, you know, that is why you actually have, say, foreign affairs ministries, you know, that kind of a thing. And then you put in people that are very professional, you know, people who are maybe very diplomatic in nature. You would have trained them and all that, you know. And then what you then do is that to be able to relate with other countries, you know, you ensure that the agreements you have between the two countries, you know, are adhered to, you know, and then you create enabling environment so that the two countries will be able to achieve their foreign objectives, so to say.
All right, thank you very much. You're still watching The Magnet. I'll be going on a quick break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is still The Magnet. Our me here in the studio is Chief Dr. BALA YESUFU, who has worked in multinational industries and is talking today to us on corporate governance and public relations. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
So I'm going to be focusing now on this on the new KAMA law. This is talking about the Corporate and Allied Matters Act. The president just signed into a law recently. Do you think the government is going overboard in terms of regulation, especially when it comes to religious organizations and NGOs? Because there are a lot of people who came out to criticize that the government is trying to regulate what these religious bodies are trying to do.
Yeah, my take there is that KAMA has been signed into law. And it has come to stay. And I really don't know why there should be this hue and cry about KAMA, especially from the religious angle. You know, we are not mandated to register your company. We are not mandated to register your church. If you do not register your church, do your thing the way you want to do it. But if you must register, you must follow the laws of the land, you know. And it is very simple. We are running a church. If you raise funds for the church to maintain the church, you know, government is not asking you to come and pay tax or do anything extraordinary about it. But if you pay from the money generated by the church, so you pay salaries, even salaries to the pastor and the workers, or pastors and workers, you know, you have to pay tax on those salaries. You know, very simple. And it is being done all over the world.
Yes.
These guys who are even kicking against it, you know, they have their branches abroad, even in the UK, in the US, and co. Their branches pay the necessary things. I mean, the necessary.
But a lot of people say we cannot compare ourselves to the UK or to the US, especially when it comes to religiosity. And most people, their angle on the story is that Nigerians are very religious. You cannot come to, because they feel whenever there's an issue in the church, the government is going to come into it, and they don't want a situation where the government is regulating how they worship or regulating the how they pay their staff, or regulating the amount of money they generate or the amount of money they make?
You see, that's where people get it wrong. You see, the government is not, like I said, you are not mandated to come and register. But if you must register, you must comply with the laws of the land. That is what they have said. You are saying that Nigerians are religious and cool. Are they more religious than the Pope? That kind of thing. But what we are saying is that there are also similar laws, like karma in some of these countries. And these churches, most of them have branches in these countries, and they comply with the laws of those countries. Why won't they comply with the laws here in Nigeria? This same bill that we are talking about, that is now law, went through 3 readings at the National Assembly. Are the religious bodies, are they going to say that they are not aware of what the government was coming up with? Why didn't they stop it from there? And then the people who actually worked on the law, so to say, members of the National Assembly and co., are they not Christians and Muslims? Didn't they know what they were working on? So that's why I don't really understand the hues and cries that is associated with this karma as it relates to religion.
I feel maybe before I just they didn't get what the act talks about generally. They feel maybe just a way of regulating how they worship. So I'll be asking this question on do you think the karma law, how does it affect the average Nigerian, and how does it affect small scale businesses?
No, but like I rightly said, if you must register, it will affect you.
Wow.
Yeah, and the laws are there. If you don't register, do your own thing. But if you must register, right, you must adhere to the laws of the land. And that is what karma says.
So a lot of people allude Nigeria to being a mono economic situation in which we focus only more on export of our crude oil, when we have other minerals. In fact, it's as if you already saw the vision of the way the country is going to. When you read this book, what was your inspiration in writing the book, Export Architecture Roadmap?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. It's really unfortunate that in Nigeria, we have been dependent on oil for a very long time. Okay. Even in the oil space, some of us who are technocrats within the non-oil space of the economy, for years we've been saying that if we must move forward economically, we have to either export or we perish. So how can we put or continue to put our eggs in one basket? Correct. The economy is a monoproduct economy. We should not be. And we have been saying that Nigeria should diversify, to non-oil export. If you diversify to non-oil export, then you have a broad-based, business to do, where you can have various streams or multiple streams of making income or generating income, multiple streams of generating income, and that is the message. You either export or you perish. We don't want this country to perish. So we rather advise that government should put in all the necessary incentives, encourage non-oil export, because that is the way. And talking about the book, I decided to put my experience in black and white, to see how I can contribute, to this diversification thing into non-oil export that we are talking about. That is why I had to write this book, Export Architecture Roadmap, So it's a one-stop export business book where you can garner a lot of facts that will aid you in profitable export business.
So if you want to get a copy of this book, how do we get it? How do we go about it?
Yeah, like I've been saying, I didn't write this book for commercial consideration, so what I do is that I want to also avoid plagiarism, people going to plagiarize the book, So I do the marketing and distribution myself, Yes.
So how do we get to you if somebody wants to get the book?
Yeah, I could give you my phone number.
Okay.
So the official contact number, for getting the book is 0805
0805
609
609
81
81
42.
42.
Yes.
You heard it. That's the number if you want to get the book. Because I've gone through the book and it's a lot. It has a lot of knowledge to pass across, especially if you're considering going into the export industry. Sadly, so we'll be drawing today's curtain on the magnate. Next week, Dr. BALA YESUFU is still going to be here to address the issue. Can everybody be an entrepreneur? Please join me next week as we bring to you fresh episode of The Magnet. I am Ibrahim Olaguju.